The air in Daniel's bedroom felt thick, suffocating, as he jolted awake, heart pounding, sweat clinging to his skin. The dream lingered like a poison. There, in the haze of his subconscious, he had stood face to face with himself, not a reflection. Not a trick of light. A perfect duplicate, down to the scar on his left eyebrow. Tomorrow, at 3:17 p.m., his doppelganger had whispered, voice dripping with grim certainty, *, you'll be hit by a blue sedan on the corner of Elm and 5th, don't go. *. Daniel laughed it off over coffee, shaking away the chill. Just stress. Just his mind playing tricks. Until the next afternoon, when his shortcut to work took him past Elm Street. At exactly 3:17 p.m., brakes screeched. Metal crunched. A blue sedan plowed into a lamppost, right where he would have been crossing. His blood turned to ice. That night, the bathroom mirror fogged with steam as he brushed his teeth. A movement, subtle, wrong, caught his eye. His reflection smiled, but he hadn't. You weren't supposed to survive, it mouthed, fingers pressing against the glass like a prisoner testing bars. Daniel stumbled back, shattering the sink's ceramic soap dish. The next morning, his boss frowned at him. *, you already clocked in, Daniel. *, but he hadn't. Security footage showed him, walking in at 8 a.m. sharp, grinning at coworkers. Then came the texts from friends, *, saw you at the diner last night. Why'd you ignore us? *. Panic clawed up his throat. He raced home, bolting the door, only to freeze at the sight of his own jacket slung over the couch. A voice, his voice, slithered from the hallway shadows, *, you had your warning. *. The mirror in the hall reflected nothing. Daniel's breath came in ragged gasps as he backed toward the door, but the knob wouldn't turn. Behind him, footsteps creaked closer. A hand, his hand, clamped onto his shoulder. The last thing he heard before the world went black was a whisper in his ear. *, I'll take it from here. *. The scent of lilies choked her before she even opened her eyes. Sarah sat bolt upright in bed, gasping, her nightshirt clinging to her sweat-slicked skin. The dream had been too real, the hushed whispers, the velvet-lined casket, her own lifeless face staring up from inside it. Just a nightmare, she told herself. Just stress. Then she saw the flowers. A bouquet of white lilies, exactly like the ones from her dream, sat on her kitchen counter with no note. Her blood ran cold. 3 days later, a stranger at the coffee shop nodded at her with unsettling familiarity. She knew him. From the funeral, his black suit, his too firm handshake, he'd been standing by her casket, murmuring prayers. That night, sleep dragged her under like a riptide. She woke to darkness. Not the soft gloom of her bedroom, an absolute, suffocating black. Her hands flew out, hitting smooth, cold wood inches from her face. The smell of damp earth flooded her nostrils as something heavy thudded above her. Then another. Dirt. They were burying her alive. Sarah screamed, pounding on the coffin lid until her fist split. "I'm not dead," she shrieked. The shoveling paused. A man's voice, muffled but achingly familiar, the funeral director from her dream, answered, "Sarah, you've been dead. You just wouldn't lie down. Asterisk. Above her, the dirt kept falling. The dream always started the same way. Ethan found himself sitting at a small wooden table in an empty white room. Across from him, Asterisk himself star. Same messy brown hair, same faded Nirvana t-shirt. Dream Ethan would lean forward, lips barely moving as he whispered the same 3 words, asterisk, Keshav Animara. Asterisk. For weeks, it meant nothing. Then one morning, half asleep in his dorm shower, Ethan mouthed the phrase absently. The water turned ice-cold instantly. That afternoon, his roommate stared at him too long before asking, asterisk, who were you talking to in the shower? Asterisk. His philosophy professor froze mid-lecture when Ethan walked in, her coffee cup slipping from trembling fingers. Then came the knocking. 3 precise raps at 3:17 a.m. every night. No one there when he opened the door, just the scent of his own cologne lingering in the hallway. Until last night, when his bleary eyes focused on the far corner of his dorm room. Himself. Not a reflection. Not a trick of light. Dream Ethan stood perfectly still, lips moving in that same silent whisper, asterisk, Keshav Animara. Asterisk. The word slithered into Ethan's ears, burrowing deep. Now, as he frantically packed his bag to flee campus, his phone buzzed. A video from his roommate's security cam, time-stamped yesterday while Ethan was in class. It showed him already in his room. Waiting. The real Ethan's breath hitched as the figure on screen turned toward the camera and smiled. You shouldn't have said it, his own voice whispered from the closet behind him. The key turned smoothly in the lock, just like every night after work. But when Mark pushed open his front door, the smell of stir-fry hit him, a meal he hadn't cooked. There, in his kitchen, wearing his favorite gray sweater, stood Mark. Not a mirror. Not an illusion. Every detail matched perfectly, the slight scar above his left eyebrow, the way he held a spatula in his left hand despite being right-handed. Their eyes locked in mutual horror for one breathless second before Mark woke up gasping in his own bed. Just a dream, he laughed nervously, running a hand through his sweat-damp hair. Until he noticed his toothbrush was damp. Until he found his coffee mug in the dishwasher, he never used the dishwasher. A creeping sense of violation crawled up his spine as he moved through his home, finding tiny disturbances everywhere, his shoes slightly out of place, the TV volume set lower than he preferred. That night, as he lay rigid in bed, the floorboard in the hallway creaked. Mark's breath caught in his throat as his own face peered around the doorframe, watching him with an expression of cold curiosity. The other Mark smiled slowly, raising a finger to its lips in a SHH gesture before retreating into the darkness. The next morning, Mark's reflection didn't move when he did. It simply waved goodbye as something heavy and metallic clicked in the front door lock, from the outside. The little girl in the dream had her eyes, same hazel flecks, same nervous blink. Lena jolted awake at 3:17 a.m., her 7-year-old self's whisper clinging like cobwebs, asterisk, you forgot about the man in the basement. Asterisk nonsense. Her apartment building didn't even have basements. Yet the words followed her all week, crawling up her spine every time she turned off lights. On Friday, she found herself driving to her abandoned childhood home, the key still rusting on her keyring. The front door creaked open to reveal peeling wallpaper and decades of dust. And there, where the living room bookshelf had always stood, a narrow door Lena didn't remember. The knob turned with a sickening pop. Cold air rushed up as wooden stairs groaned underfoot. The single light bulb flickered to life, illuminating a small desk. On it lay a pink journal with peeling Lisa Frank stickers, the kind she'd loved as a child. Her blood turned to ice when she recognized her own handwriting. June 12, 2024, don't trust Dr. Karim's medication. It makes you forget him again. Lena's breath hitched. Her psychiatrist had just prescribed new pills yesterday. A floorboard creaked above her. Then another. Heavy, deliberate footsteps moved toward the basement door. The journal's final entry screamed up at her in frantic red ink. He's coming down the stairs right now, Lena, run. The light bulb shattered just as the basement door slammed shut above her.